can be a subjective topic, and I'm going to do my best here to be objective about it, but when my personal preference or gameplay style comes into effect when picking my favorite weapon, I'll be sure to mention that. And starting off, we're going to talk about the pilot and the tanker class. These are the two classes you get when spawning into a tank or an airplane. Generally speaking, we don't really use them for combat. They're just the guys that we play if our tank or airplane explodes. But when you start getting some of the better weapons, these guys actually become quite effective. This right here is the sawed-off shotgun. It's a double-barrel shotgun. You get 2 shots. You can fire them both back-to-back really fast if you would like for maximum damage, and you even have a sidearm. Now, the way you unlock this gun is by hitting rank 10 as the tanker class. That means you got to drive around in a tank, get lots of kills, play the objective, and you'll eventually hit rank 10. And once you unlock it for the tanker class, it also becomes available for the pilot class. Now, I don't know the specific stats yet of the sawed-off shotgun. I do know it can kill in 1 shot without question. The 2 back-to-back shots allow you to down 1 person very quickly, or 2 people in extreme close quarters very quickly, and then you can even switch to a sidearm to finish off a 3rd. It basically makes the pilot or the tanker class a force to be reckoned with in close quarters. Now, if shotgun isn't really your style, but you want a powerful weapon for the pilot or the tanker, the Frommerstopp Auto is actually very good. It's basically like a little G18, a fully automatic pistol that can absolutely down 1 person very quickly. If you can squeak out 2 with 1 magazine, that's impressive, but it's a good little weapon that can at least get you to a 2nd kit before you need to pick up a real gun to start doing some real damage. Next up, let's take a look at the support class. Now, I can't say I'm a huge fan of machine guns in general, but if I have to use the support class, the BAR 1918 is my go-to weapon. There's a few other workable weapons for support, but this one has the highest damage per second out of them, and it's fairly accurate, has decent hip fire, and can really engage people at medium range when you need to. There's 3 variants of the BAR 1918. The one I'm using here is the BAR 1918 Storm. This one has the least amount of recoil of the 3 variants. If you want something with even better hipfire accuracy, you can go with the BAR 1918 Trench. Now, despite the large ammunition that the BAR shoots, it still doesn't do very much damage per shot. In fact, most of the SMGs will be doing more damage per shot than this gun. It only does 21 damage maximum. However, it does have better medium range than most of the SMGs, as it only drops off to 19 damage. So there's a very, very small drop off here. At 25 meters, you'll basically be doing 19 damage, which does allow you to be somewhat effective at medium range. And yeah, I did have to switch to the airburst mortar for some close quarter combat here. It's actually a pretty effective way to get somebody out of a building. You can blow up the roof and then kill them on the inside. Now, without question, the biggest drawback to this weapon is the fact that it only has a 20-round magazine. Smallest magazine out of any machine gun out there. This means your chances of killing more than 1 opponent with a single magazine are very slim. Chances are most of them have to be damaged in order to do that. That's why this gun is better at medium range. You're not going to be able to deal with 2 targets in close quarters if they surprise you. You will have to rely on your sidearm. Now, I'm using the AA optics with this weapon. I think they're better than the standard iron sights and certainly better than the telescopic variants of this gun. Not a huge fan of the telescopic LMGs, as I don't think they have good enough accuracy to actually make use of magnified optics. Now, in my opinion, the support has some of the weakest primary weapons in the game, but the class does make up for that for having some of the best gadgets in the game. You've probably all run into the airburst mortar at this point in time. The airburst mortar is ridiculously powerful. If you're using it on an attack or defense style game mode like Rush or better yet Operations, you will get an insane amount of kills with this. I find it incredibly effective even in close quarters. If somebody just ducks behind a rock that's like 30 feet away from you or 30 meters away from you and you don't want to reload, you can just switch to that airburst mortar, put a few rounds behind the rock, take them out. I've already seen people start to rage against the airburst mortar. One of the saving graces is that when you're using it, other airburst mortar users will see you, so you'll basically just get stuck in the middle of a bunch of mortar wars. Now let's take a look at the medic class. This is definitely one of the more useful classes in the game right now because of its insane ability to revive teammates, but it also has some of the best medium range weapons in the game. This can counter snipers at medium to medium long-ish range. It can even hip fire its primary weapon in close quarters to deal with assaulters or support classes, and at medium range there's really nobody who can stand up to the DPS of a medic, nor the accuracy. That being said, if you've just started playing the medic class and you're at rank 1, you might be thinking, what the heck are you talking about? A lot of the starting medic weapons aren't so great. The Seirogoti, which is one of the first guns that you get, I think is one of the worst medic guns in the game. It's very difficult to use. With its small ammo capacity and weak damage at range, it doesn't really suit many roles too well. I highly recommend unlocking the M1907 until you can get your medic class up to rank 3, at which point you can unlock the Selbstgelader M1916 Marksman. That's what I'm using here, and this, in my opinion, doesn't really have much in the way of a contender for medic class weapons. The medic does have some guns that can shoot a bit faster than this and maybe out damage it in close range, but when it comes to a solid medium range weapon, this one's got everything going for it. First of all, it's got a 26 round capability, making it the highest ammunition capacity rifle for the medic class in the game. Considering that the gun gives you a guaranteed 3-shot kill and occasionally 2-shot kill in close quarters, you have the potential to kill 8 people with one single magazine. Absolutely great weapon for the medic. You don't have to stop and disengage opponents. You can work through an entire squad of baddies before needing to reload. In addition to which, it has some of the best aiming down sight accuracy out of any of the medic weapons out there. Granted, you can't fire this weapon at its maximum rate of fire without losing some accuracy, but the faster rate of fire does come in handy if you need to spam fire in close quarters. Losing out on a little bit of accuracy doesn't hurt if somebody's right in your face and you need to get let out. Now there's a few interesting alternatives to this weapon. There's the auto-loading 8 with the extended magazine, which can do more damage in close quarters than this weapon. The only problem is that it has terrible damage drop-off at range. So if you need something specifically designed for close quarter damage, you can switch up your weapons. Then of course there's the Mondragon Sniper, which has technically got better stats than this one because it can shoot faster, but it's only got a 10 round magazine and it has to reload with the clip mechanism, making your reloads a lot slower. The Selbstgelader 1916 really does have everything going for it, and I think once you can find the rhythm with this weapon, that is not firing it as fast as it possibly can fire, but sort of at the rate at which it maintains a good accuracy, you're going to be dishing out a huge amount of damage at medium range, and then you can spam fire in close quarters to take people down even faster. It's a great weapon. I think I have the most kills with this gun right now, and you will not be disappointed once you unlock it. Now let's move to a weapon category that is without question going to be one of the most subjective weapon categories in Battlefield 1. This is the Recon class with their different types of sniper rifles. Now in previous Battlefield games there wasn't a huge amount of statistical differences between the sniper rifles. You had muzzle velocity and reload speed and stuff like that, but they all for the most part had 100% accuracy, and once you got used to them you could do pretty darn well with just about any bolt action rifle. Battlefield 1 is a different story. It's all about the sweet spot. Now, the sweet spot is the range from you at which you can one-shot an enemy without having to get a headshot. You can hit them with a body shot for 100% damage, killing them. And that is an extremely important factor because getting a headshot, especially on a moving target, is very difficult to do in this game. So if you can remove that element and still kill them with one shot to the body, all of a sudden you've got a golden gun. The question now becomes, what is the best sweet spot, or is there one single sweet spot that is the best? Basically, there isn't one that's going to be the best. Different maps will have different engagement distances, so you might want to change up the rifle you're using depending on the situation. I do, however, believe that most sniping occurs in medium to long range. And there's a few sniper rifles out there that really favor this range better than others. There is, of course, the Martini Henry, which in my opinion has one of the best sweet spots in the game, starting at 30 meters. That means anyone 30 meters to 80 meters is going to die in one shot. Unfortunately, the Martini Henry has the slowest muzzle velocity in the game, no optics, so you're using iron sights, and it's also got the slowest reload. So it's got a lot of bad statistics. If you can deal with the best sweet spot in the game and overcome the really bad stats otherwise, then you might really enjoy that weapon. It certainly is satisfying. However, if you want to use some optics, you can take the next rung up, which is the SMLE Mark III Marksman, which is what I'm using here. The SMLE sweet spot starts at 40 meters, so you have to increase that engagement distance a little bit, but it's still an incredibly good rifle. And in my opinion, if you had to pick one sniper rifle for every single purpose in the game, mine would be the SMLE Mark III. One more rung up beyond that is the Russian 1895 Sniper. This is an incredibly good rifle as well. It gives you a higher magnification optic than the SMLE Mark III, which is great for getting headshots at further distances. It also has an incredibly good rate of fire and decent hip fire if somebody surprises you in close quarters. This is an incredibly versatile rifle, and the sweet spot is only pushed out a little bit further than the other ones. Starting at 60 meters and ending at 100 meters, that'll be the area in which you can one-shot body shot anyone. I think I'll be switching between the SMLE Mark III and this one most in the game, and depending on the range, of course, as you can see here in the desert, it is very good when you can hold yourself at that specific distance. And although I'll concede that there is no best sniper rifle in the game, I will say my top pick is the SMLE Mark III with the Russian 1895 as the second runner-up, and then of course the Martini Henry for style and fun. Now moving on to our last class, we have the Assault, and although some of the other classes had a lot of weapons that I think you could debate as to which one might be the best or the best one for you, I think the Assault really only has one clear winner, and that is the level 10 assault weapon, the Hellriegel. In game, it kind of plays out like the P90 of World War I. It's got an absolutely massive magazine capacity of 60 rounds with a very fast rate of fire of 600 rounds per minute. That's pretty fast for Battlefield 1. It might not seem like it compared to previous Battlefield games, but 600 rounds per minute will win you a lot of firefights. And while the Automatico can outdamage this weapon with its insane 900 round per minute rate of fire, its ammunition capacity pretty much limits you to about 1 kill per magazine. You can squeeze out 2 if you're pretty skillful, but for the most part, the limited magazine capacity limits what you can do with the weapon. And the Hellriegel allows you to run into a room and purely clear it out. If people aren't ready for you or enough guys are facing the wrong direction, you can wipe an entire squad. Now technically this gun has the worst hipfire out of all of the SMGs, but the hipfire is still good enough that it works in the ranges that you're going to need to use it. So even though some of the stats aren't great compared to the other SMGs, it doesn't hold this weapon back. One thing you do need to watch out for is that you've only got 2 magazines of 60 rounds each, 120 rounds. It can certainly net you a lot of kills, but it also requires a little bit of restraint on the user's part, otherwise you're going to burn through all your ammo. However, if you manage to get through all of your ammo on this weapon, there's probably going to be a few dead bodies lying around that you can pick up their kits if you do happen to run out. So that's just one thing I've always found with Battlefield games. If there's ever been an ammo complaint with certain weapons or playstyles, you can always just pick up a kit from somebody else. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up for this video on all the best weapons for each class in Battlefield 1. I use Synthic stats pretty extensively. If you're not familiar with that website, it's called synthic.com. They break down stats for weapons, vehicles, soldiers, and stuff like that in Battlefield games. It's a great website. I use it all the time. I hope you found this video helpful. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.